All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at another great everyday watch. This is a field watch by Boldr Supply Company, and we're going to be looking at the Boldr Explorer GMT. So it's a quartz field watch that's, it's just a great everyday watch, real easy to wear, very clean, kind of classic but modern look, and some pretty amazing lume. I've been really impressed with that, and especially the two different colored looms that it's got. But yeah, let's take a look at it. All right, this week we're going to take a look at a watch from a smaller company called Boldr Supply Company, and they're a newer company that's been putting out some watches. They have 3 that are available now with 2 more on pre-order. The one that we're going to be looking at today is the Boldr Explorer, which is their field watch. They also have kind of an aviation and style inspired chronograph, and then they have a 500-meter dive watch. So they kind of got the whole air, land, and sea thing covered. The thing that I like about Boldr is they seem to be going for these kind of very classic designs and very classic watch styles, but they put a little bit of a fresh modern spin on them, and they just have really clean, easy to read watch faces. On this Explorer that we're going to be looking at today, the lume is spectacular. It looks really cool, and it's very bright. And there's lots of it on the dial. Another thing that I kind of like about them, I don't usually show off the cases in the box they came with, but this little Explorer that I got, it came in this kind of a travel case. So actually most of the watch boxes that I got here, I'm probably not going to take with me back to Japan because I don't have room in my luggage. But this is one that I definitely will. It's kind of like it's got a little zip closure, and it makes a great travel case for a watch. And so in there you can keep the watch. It's padded, it's portable. You can put it in there and just throw it in a bag, and you're good to go. So that's one thing that I really like about it. But yeah, so this is the Boldr Explorer. It's got GMT function, which again, love GMT functions. It's kind of a field watch, great everyday watch. But let's go ahead and jump into the review and take a closer look at it. So the first thing that we notice is that this is a GMT watch. So you can see that orange hand there, that's your GMT hand, and that's going to indicate a second time zone. And you can read the second time zone on the outer bezel. So it's showing that this is 10 a.m. in the second time zone. So it's very easy to read. One thing to note that on this black version with the black case, the bezel is loomed as well as the dial and hands. So only on the black version can you actually read the second time zone in the dark, as you can see here. The other cool thing is that the bezel is loomed in a blue lume instead of green, where you've got green on the hands and on the hour marker. So you get this really cool two-tone color in the dark. It looks really sharp, I think, and it's very easy to read. I really like the lume on this and everything. You get the second hand, the GMT hand, and all the hours, everything's loomed. But what's really interesting to me is that the lume in the light, it appears completely white. So I haven't seen very many watches that have that. Usually the ones that have the ones I have that have lume on, the lume has kind of a greenish tinge to it, but they've got this lume that appears completely white, which looks really sharp and contrasts very well with the black dial. So I really like that. This strap is a canvas upper, leather under, so it's very comfortable, but it gives it kind of a black, all blacked out look, which is pretty sharp. This case back is, I think, really cool also. Screw down case back, and it's got a map of the world etched on it, so kind of a nod to the Explorer name and just the idea of it being a GMT watch. Signed crown. You get this knurling on the crown and on the bezel, which makes the bezel very easy to turn, as well as the crown very easy to manipulate. So that bezel, it is a rotating bezel. It's a unidirectional rotating bezel. And they say you can use that as a countdown timer by just aligning the triangle with the minute hand, and it'll count down 1 hour. Another thing that you can use it for, though, is to, in tracking the second time zone, if you're going between time zones frequently, you can just rotate the bezel to match up the orange time zone hand with whichever time zone you want. That way you don't have to actually change it. So if you have one time zone set and you don't want to go through the trouble of changing the time zone on the crown, it's much easier to just kind of rotate the dial an hour or two, depending on how many, the bezel an hour or two, depending on how far you've gone. And then when you get back home, you can quickly rotate the bezel back. So that's kind of a neat feature too that I'm glad they included, and I think a lot of GMT watches don't bother these days. This one, it does have a screw down crown, so we get 50 meters of water resistance, which is again going to be great for all everyday activities. Not going to be for like scuba diving or anything like that, but anything that you're going to get it wet, even up to some light swimming, it's not going to have a problem. Although again, on that leather strap, you're probably not going to want to use it in the water too much, but it shouldn't get, it should be pretty safe from any water damage that you're going to be throwing at it. Let's go ahead and grab a wrist shot and take a look at it. So this is, it's a 40 millimeter diameter watch, which is, I think for me, is just like the perfect size. I love that size. I think it's not too small, not too big. It's a good height too, not too thick. It's very comfortable. The band is a 20 millimeter band, which can be swapped out. And here I've put it on a sort of a tan grayish leather NATO, and I think it looks really nice on a brown strap. I really like that kind of black and tan look for black watches with black cases. So I usually wear it with this NATO right now. Pop it on the wrist. Again, this is I think a really good casual watch. It's not going to be very dressy, but again, it's kind of a military inspired, very tough looking, and I think a very tough watch in itself. It's got mineral crystal. So, pretty good stuff overall. Cons, I don't really have anything to complain about. It's a little bit on the expensive side, I think, for what it offers, especially if you're not interested in that GMT feature. That's really the most distinguishing thing about it, that and the multicolored lume. But other than that, it's a fairly simple watch. It is a quartz watch. It's Boldr's kind of entry-level one. So it's not for everybody, but overall, something that I really enjoy. All right, so that's been my review of the Boldr Explorer GMT. If you go to their website, you can purchase, actually not this exact watch, they're out of stock on it, but you can still find it in some other places. What they have now on their website is they have the version 2 of this watch, which is a little bit more expensive, but it comes with a sapphire crystal, and then there's some different color options. This particular watch retailed for $199. I was able to pick it up new on eBay for around $140. And then they have some of the other versions are still, I've seen them on other shops, so you can kind of search around on the internet and see if you can find some of them. If you want one of the newer ones with the sapphire crystal, those ones are running for $229 for the silver case, the stainless steel silver colored cases, which do not have lume on the bezel, and then $250, so $249 for the same version as this one that has the lumed bezel. And then again, all of these, they're more expensive primarily because of the sapphire crystal that they include on, so a little bit more upscale. But yeah, definitely encourage you guys to check out Boldr. It's definitely a company that I'm looking out for, and some of their new watches that they have coming out have some really great designs. And yeah, their prices are reasonable. This is definitely their entry-level one, lowest price one. That's why it's the one that I picked up, but it's a watch that I wear a lot and really enjoy, so hope you guys enjoyed the review. And yeah, I encourage you guys to check out Boldr Supply Company and see what they have offering.